If you feel like you cannot take on one more thing, you're probably right. And I had a client say something recently that I personally think a lot of business owners are feeling, but they're just not saying out loud. She said, I cannot raise my ceiling anymore. I am literally at full capacity. And I was just so caught off guard by her brutal honesty because most business owners, like I said, they won't say that out loud. They just want to try to optimize and work harder. They put the systems in place. They start time blocking, or they try to manage their time better. They just need to delegate these things off their plate and really create better structure, right? Which just means they want to try to control more. But what they're trying to do there is raise their ceiling. But if your ceiling is already maxed out, like just raising it more is giving you more space to just jam in more, which really doesn't create any relief. It requires you to just handle and endure more. And you guys watching this are probably really good at enduring and suffering. The business that you've created, it's working. You have revenue coming in, the clients are happy, your team is making moves, but you just feel like everything is still running through you and only you. And it could be anything. Decision, small or big, holding the company standard, any potential mistakes. It's not your calendar that's overwhelming you. And I'm going to say that again. It is not your calendar that is overwhelming you. It's that you've built your entire identity by being the person who has to carry the weight and solve every problem for everyone and everything. That is why you're overwhelmed. You've proven that you're the reliable one. You'll do whatever it takes to get it done. You'll hold the line even when no one else will, and it's going to break you. And you'll stretch yourself thin time and time again just to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks or a mistake is made. And that's how you build your business. And I get it, because that is what it takes to get a business off the ground and running. And it's also why you can't step away from it. And there's usually a moment, and it's subtle, but you do have a light bulb go off and you realize this. I don't actually need to be the one who carries all of this. And when you have that realization, there's a relief. Like, oh, I don't have to be in every decision. I don't have to fix every problem. You're telling me I don't have to hold this business together for everyone? And just on the other side of that relief, you have this anxiety that just hits you square in the chest. Oh, but wait, what if something slips? What if someone messes up and they forget this? What's that going to say about me? What are my clients going to think? And then what if the clients stop working with us and revenue dips? That anxiety isn't really about tasks or someone else doing something. It's you just trying to find every which way that it won't work and why it won't work, because you feel responsible for your team, the business, and anything else that you can literally grab and think of and pull in to say that's yours. And your identity has probably been wrapped up in responsibility, productivity, and being the doer for so long. You've equated doing and carrying it all as leadership. But doing and leadership are not the same thing. When you feel at max capacity, the move is not to raise your ceiling, it's actually to raise your floor. And what I mean by that is simple. Like, imagine your ceiling, imagine your floor. When you raise the ceiling, you're just creating more space and expanding how much you could handle without the capacity. But if you raise your floor, that means that you're changing your minimum standard for what qualifies as yours, which is actually a shift in your belief and your identity. So again, when you raise your floor, what actually happens is you compress the space. So there's less, and you need to let go of things. Not everything gets to live in your head anymore. Not everything gets to be urgent. And not everything just needs to default back to you, and you have to be the one to decide or make the move. And this doesn't mean that you stop caring. It just means that you stop trying to hold on to everything with a death grip. And when you do that, that's uncomfortable. Because if you're not the one holding everything together, then who are you? That right there, that is the real tension. That's where all the discomfort is. It's uncomfortable to feel that tension, to be in that tension. And I promise you that you probably try to avoid that feeling at all costs. But here's what I've seen over and over again with my clients. When they actually stop carrying everything, the first thing that changes, it is not revenue. It's not even in their performance, their productivity, or their structure, but it's how they feel. They actually feel calm. They're less reactive. They're able to think clearly again. Their mind is slowed down. They walk into conversations differently. They're able to speak differently. And they stop operating from this constant low-level urgency. And from that place, that's where their leadership improves. Because their leadership is no longer tied to being the one responsible for everything, everyone within the business. They're just not trying to manage it all. Leadership is really clarity. Leadership is having the ability to actually choose what's yours to carry and what isn't. So if you feel like you're at full capacity right now, I just want you to know this. You're not weak. You're not going to fall behind. You're not incapable. You are just done trying to expand how much pressure you tolerate. And maybe it's just not time to push harder. Maybe it's time to stop confusing carrying everything with leading. You don't have to carry it all to be a good leader. And if that feels like a relief to hear, good. I want you to just take a breath. Pay attention to that. Let yourself feel what that feels like, because that is the direction. That is the place for you to lead from and move forward from.